Today, we have technology at our fingers. We can be connected to the internet nearly all day if we want. Our devices have become an extension of ourselves. Now what if in the future, technology gave you better health, a smarter brain, and a longer, healthier life? And what if once your corporeal body died, you could become forever preserved as an active and interactive entity on the internet? Concepts such as these, and more specifically, becoming an enhanced human, or even transhuman, are discussed in Ray Kurzweil's book, The Singularity is Near. The singularity being the point where humans and technology combine, such as through nanotechnology and others. In 2009, third-degree guitarist Patrick Cleach brought Kurzweil's ideas to the table. The concept for the album Ones and Zeros, Volume 1 was born. After the release of The Long Division, the band began working in earnest on this ambitious project that would eventually span 2 full albums. I love this new device. I mean, this is the future. Look at this. Here, I've got my email ready to go. I've got all my third degree albums in for music. I've got my photo apps in. I've got the game center set up. I'm all ready to go. I am totally invested. What the? Guess it's time to upgrade. In 2015, Third Degree released their album Ones and Zeros Volume 1. This is a concept album, and the concepts in the song lyrics are based upon the writings of Ray Kurzweil. Now, Ray Kurzweil's book here, The Singularity is Near, is about when humans transcend biology. This is when the technology we use to enhance our enjoyment of life becomes internal, as opposed to external, how it is now for most of us anyway. So, with this technology, we can not only enhance our experience of life, we can also extend our lives. And ultimately, in the end, well, let's talk about that when we get there. Now, this is not a concept narrative, although the story does develop throughout the album. The entire album is held together by this one company called Valhalla Biotech, which forms the base behind all the technological innovation that occurs within the story or within the concept of this album. Valhalla Biotech. Time for a word from our sponsor.
Valhalla Biotech and you, a singular relationship.
At the beginning of the album, we follow fairly familiar territory. One nameless character in one song announces, "Now that I'm totally invested, I'd be a fool to not upgrade." And this is something very familiar with us. When you buy a new computer or a new tablet or something, we find ourselves regularly having to update software, sometimes updating hardware, always having to get the latest version of a tablet or a smartphone or upgrading to a more powerful or faster computer. We're stuck in this kind of loop already. Now imagine when this technology actually becomes internalized. Let's say you have nanobots or something inside your body, or other types of cyborg type things. You will have to upgrade. There will be new technology, there will be new applications, new algorithms, whatever. So this is touched upon already in here. Now later on in the album, we hear of a character named Roland Everlong, 139 years old, who witnesses his own son's death due to old age. Now, this is an interesting thought, that if we can extend our lives, if some of us choose to have our lives extended, we will outlive our children if they don't. So it gives you something to think about. Now later on though, things get a little bit darker, because we discover that it becomes possible to continue your conscious existence in a kind of cyber form. So in one track, we hear the Valhalla Biotech computerized voice describing the process of peeling back layers of your old brain and having them 3D scanned and then discarded. And this is the process of scanning all the minute details of the characters of your brain so that you may continue your existence in a kind of cyber form on the internet. Now, if you think about it, when you are sending text messages to a friend, you're communicating with a friend, your friend is not there, but that friend is responding to you and you feel you are communicating with that person. Of course, why not? Now, what if that friend was actually not really there, but actually in the internet somehow, and that person could still communicate with you as usual? An interesting thought, and something that is brought up in Ray Kurzweil's book as well. So maybe being able to live forever sounds like an ideal thing. I mean, imagine you could experience everything there is to experience in the world through the internet, or at least by what's available on the internet. However, there is in the track We Regret to Inform You the other side of this technology. And maybe if you have any kind of computer or smartphone or any type of technology, you know that technology has its little hiccups and bugs and so on. And so what happens in We Regret to Inform You is that Valhalla Biotech tells you that your father has slipped his allocation matrix and his program has been put into your father is in stasis quarantine. He also contracts some virus, and after several attempts to revive him, everything ends in failure, and we regret to inform you that your father has been deleted. Imagine that your entire existence as an entity living on the internet can be snuffed out due to a small glitch or bug or some computer decision that this application, this algorithm is not working, so turn it off, delete. Wow. So this is one of the things I really love about Third Degree, is that they often approach the positive side of something, but they have an almost naive and yet cynical view of the other side of it, and that really comes out in the lyrics and in the story. So I would like to introduce 3 of the tracks from here. First of all, let's listen to a little bit from the second track, The Gravity. It will not be contained right here and now. The fate we cannot choose, such awful power. It's only ours to lose. Now, one of the things that Third Degree is very good at is writing very memorable and catchy songs. I said before that they had a kind of alternative or college rock sound, but I feel that by the time we reach Ones and Zeros, the duology here, they've scaled back on that harder edge, and they have brought out their, let's say, their kind of 70s influenced progressive side more. So at times I'm reminded a little bit of Queen or of Supertramp or of Styx, like that kind of thing. So they often have these middle eights or bridges in the songs, which really shows their ability to compose more progressive style rock music. And so I would like to feature something here from Life at Any Cost. Please listen to this part from this song here. Okay, now one other part that really caught me by surprise and yet I really like, this is from the track What It Means to Be Human. They put in these harmony vocals, almost a cappella style, but actually of course it does go along well with the music, but this is one of the things that I really like, that a band like Third Degree can do this and make it sound so well, sound so good. So let's listen to this part here of What It Means to Be Human. Ones and Zeros Volume 1 is probably the breakthrough album for the band. Now, The Long Division did very well, but this one here, it got them into the top 100 of Prog Archives for 2015, finishing, I believe it was at 3rd place. That's really good. And the last time I checked, I think they were still around 5th place for 2015. But I mean, we're talking top 5 here. That's fantastic stuff. They also got mentioned on the Dutch prog rock page. They were in the top 10 of recommended albums for 2015. And I think as a result of this, it led to them touring in Europe. They played in 5 countries in Europe, expanding their tour country base to 7 countries, so including US and Canada. So this has been a really fantastic thing for the band to expose them more. And so that then leads us on to the follow-up album, Ones and Zeros Volume 0. It was 3 years before this album was finally released, Ones and Zeros Volume 0. Now it's tempting to think that Volume 0 must be a prequel to Volume 1, because of course sequentially 1 follows 0, 0 precedes 1, so this should be a prequel. But I don't think the band is thinking of it that way. The theme of both albums, Ones and Zeros, is binary code. So since the first one was Volume 1, this is Volume 0. It follows in that order. Another way you might think about it is ones and zeros. If 1 is on and 0 is off, then Volume 1 is on the subject of Valhalla Biotech, while Volume 0 is off the subject of Valhalla Biotech. Valhalla Biotech does not make any appearance here, other than the fact that some of the melodies from Volume 1 crop up here on Volume 0. Now, 3rd Degree have a Facebook page called Amis qui aiment 3rd Degree, friends who love 3rd Degree. And on that Facebook page, they have painstakingly written out the detail behind each of the songs. And I originally consulted those song details in order to present some ideas here, but it's actually a lot to read, so perhaps you'd just like to check it out for yourself. I will tell you this though, that some of the songs on here are actually, the music is quite old, going back to the mid-80s, and a lot of, or at least a couple of other song ideas were originally kicking around 2009, 2010 when they were first coming up with the idea for this album. And so some of them just didn't fit in with the Valhalla Biotech concept of Volume 1, so they were passed over here to Volume 0, which also considers a lot of the concepts mentioned by Ray Kurzweil. However, these are some other things such as genetically designed babies. You can get the perfect baby by manipulating genes prior to the child's birth. Also, automaton partners, where a guy, instead of having a proper human-female partner, will have the perfect mate as an automaton. However, as always, there is a twist to the story. We'll talk about that in a little bit. One other point I thought was kind of cool and worth mentioning is the first track here is an instrumental called Reinstall Overture, which features melodies from both albums coming in here, which is neat. But another thing I like is reinstall. The I in install is actually written as a 1. And overture, the O, is written as a 0. So this concept of ones and zeros is really played out. It crops up in the lyrics, as we've heard before. They're really running with that idea, and that's pretty cool, I think. So some of the tracks, some of the concepts they talk about, for example, the song Connecting, this is about an internet troll who is out tonight, and you're the shit tonight, if I may say that. Is this a family video? Anyway, the troll is out there to raise heck on the internet, as trolls tend to do. However, the lyrics also mention that this is a person who is really in need of properly connecting with humans. And as a funny, related story, can I say that? I teach at a kindergarten, and every year at the beginning of the school year they have an opening ceremony, and then during that ceremony some of the teachers dress up as animals and they play together, and then this fox character comes out, or wolf character, And he wants to play too, but he doesn't know how. So he goes in and starts shoving the kids, the other animals, knocking over their blocks. And then the principal comes out and says, whoa, 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 that's not the way to play. If you want to play with others, you have to ask nicely and join in and play together. So that kindergarten concept that they're trying to teach to children is coming back here on this album about this troll who really needs proper connection with human beings but doesn't seem to know how, so he just goes and causes trouble. I like that. That's kind of neat. Then we have Olympia. This is a song about an automaton partner. And recently, if you check on the internet and probably also catch up on latest technology news, advancements in automatons, kind of almost android-type characters, is really improving. They can say lots of things. They can hold conversations. They can say astounding things. They almost seem to be able to say human things, and they're starting to look more and more realistic, but still kind of fake. But hey, in another few years or another decade or so, they might be even more realistic. And so the character in here, he has opted to get an automaton partner, which turns out at first everything is going really well. She's like the perfect wife. And it's not just a sexual thing. I mean, this is about someone who will listen to him, someone who supports him, someone who doesn't belittle him, someone who seems to really believe and encourage him, which is something I think most men would like to have in a partner. However, it doesn't take this automaton long with her AI and her AI sentience to figure out him. And in the end, he ends up becoming her human toy. Now, this is also interesting because this reminds me of the concept that we humans become slaves to our machines because they constantly need maintenance or updating. Sometimes they're just not doing what we want them to do, and we have to sit by and wait for them, the little blue circle, to finish going around, for the application to become responsive again. We end up becoming the slaves to the machines which are supposed to be serving us. So that concept kind of comes up in this song about this automaton here. There is also a song on here called The Future Doesn't Need You, and it's a great song, but I also think the title is really interesting. It makes you think, like, why doesn't the future need me? Is it because my ideas are outdated? Or because I'm biological and not technological? I don't know. Anyway, neat idea for a song. Most of the tracks on this album have been praised quite highly by a lot of different reviewers, but the standout feature on here is the 15-minute 27-second Click Away. This is a song that is in 3 parts, basically, and I guess the main part in the middle is about using the click farm, getting some service that gives your web page clicks to make it look like you are much more popular. Now, an interesting thing is that inside, the lyrics to Click Farm are not included. Instead, there is a link to a website, URL, and you go there, and then it takes you, I think it's to the band's website, and they give the list of lyrics, but some lyrics are highlighted as links, and you click on them, and for example, when it says to check your numbers, the clicks on your website, it actually takes you to the Prog Archive's top 100 of 2018, and you can see where their album is ranking, and it actually was up in the 1st place or 2nd place for quite some time earlier this year. I should have checked where it's at now, but anyway, surely it's still in the top 5. Other links will take you to their Facebook page and also the Ami Kiem 3rd Degree page and so on. So this idea of clicking and our connection with the internet and our popularity or feeling of popularity or also promotion through the internet, it's all carried out in real life in the lyrics of the song by taking you to the website and giving you links to click on. That is a really neat concept too. I think they have taken this idea to its really fullest extent beyond the CD. Alright, let's introduce some of the music now from the album. We talked about the song Connecting, which is that song about that internet troll. So let's listen to a little bit of a clip from that song, because there's some really great music in there.
But what did you steal?
let's have a listen to some part from Olivia, the song about the automaton that we talked about.
Someone to understand and share a life. Someone to help with the journey that she's on. Not really the future I planned. I had maintenance on the joy and an
And finally, the monster-long track, over 15 minutes long, Click Away. Let's listen to just a 30-second clip from Click Away. There's some great music in there throughout those 15 minutes.
You know appearances count. You're multinational now, and you got a little buzz on social media because you have a million hits. Now you look serious.
Okay, and that concludes the song introductions. Now back to the regular video. Oh, what are you doing with that finger there? Hey, careful where you're touching that button. Okay, I think that about wraps it up for my talk about 3rd Degrees, ones and zeros. Each album is very good on its own, but of course this is a set, so you should have them both, and the artwork is really nice too. So in closing, I would like to give much thanks to Robert James Pashman of 3rd Degree, not only for allowing me to use music for the video, but also for answering my questions and helping me out with my presentation here. That is really great, as always, to have the support of people. And also, in part 1 of this episode, we used music from Pugs and Crows. That's great thanks to Chris Gestrin, the producer, for allowing me to do that. I do like to use music in my videos here, but I always like to ask permission if I can. Otherwise, I might be asked to remove the video someday. Wow. Okay, thanks to everyone for listening, watching. Hopefully, if you like 3rd Degree and Pugs and Crows already, hopefully this has made you like them more or taken more interest in them. Maybe in the case of 3rd Degree, you want to buy more of their albums. There are others I talked about. Same for Pugs and Crows too. And I'd also like to say thanks to Robert one more time here for sending me this Ones and Zeros Show 2018, a list of venues that they went to in May, Valhalla Biotech up here. And he also sent me a ticket to one of the shows. Unfortunately, it was in Cornwall, Ontario, which is a bit far from where I am, so I couldn't go. And in fact, by the time I received the ticket, the show was already over. But it makes a nice souvenir. Thank you so much for that. Okay, that is all. So, now, it's already September. Are you thinking about Christmas? What do you want for Christmas?